I realized I gotta check myself. I gotta work on that. Because men don't want somebody that's gonna micromanage them, who's gonna always boss them around. So sometimes I just have to be like, okay, baby, even though I'm like this.
Hey guys, and welcome back to Little Black Book. You know what time it is. Told you guys about Ready to Love. We're going to deal with a particular character who came up in the show, Symone. We're going to break down some of the things that she said, go a little bit deeper, and really just bring a bit of healing to the place. So guys, if you are new to the channel, do me a favor, do yourself a favor, make sure you like, you share, subscribe, click on the bell button for a notification of the uploads, and for those of you who are returnees, you ain't got the minerals. I'm joking. You got the minerals, you got the minerals. Alright, cool. So on the show Ready to Love, I want to take a character out and just kind of really break some stuff down. It was Symone. And Symone said some really interesting things that I really felt were worthy of us just looking deeper into. And this is not about attacking her, actually. This is more about understanding mindset. So when we got introduced to Symone, she made herself very, very clear that, you know, she's a sassy, aggressive woman when it comes to her lawyership, her attorney work. And it's the only place that she can be that aggressive and sassy and get away with it and black.
Sassy and I'm aggressive. It's the one job you can have as a black female, and you can be tough, and people pay you for that. When I date, it's kind of like the way that I practice law. So you have a threshold.
Right? Which I loved. But then she went on to say, obviously, that attitude then bleeds into her social life. And this is where it becomes very difficult for women especially, because men are praised for their aggressiveness. It's part of quote-unquote masculinity. And so when women then decide to become aggressive in their social life, dealing with people, they look masculine. And unfortunately, then that is not praised. So for instance, let me give you an example. Serena Williams, okay? Now, her profession is a tennis ball player, right? And you can see some of the headlines that they put about Serena Williams. Even though it's her sports job, it's her job to be aggressive on the court, you will see some of the names that get attached with her, yeah? They will call all sorts of names as a black female. Why? Simply because we don't get, as black women, and as black people in general, sorry to even say, but as black women as we see, they don't get the same leeway when it comes to them being aggressive. As soon as they become aggressive, they're labeled as something else, okay? And so we hear Symone talking about how, you know, her sassiness and aggressiveness seeps into her life with, you know, her social life, basically. And what's really interesting about that is, where does that energy come from? Because if that seeps into your social life, maybe that's also something that's been a part of your ethos in general. Maybe that's something that you've grown up with. Maybe that's something that's part of your lifestyle and the way that you live your life, and the way that you conduct yourself emotionally. And the reason why I say that is because a lot of women, especially, I would say black women especially, go through very traumatic, emotional experiences. And what we're taught from young is to make sure you don't come and kill yourself. When you have that attitude, what can happen is that you can start to go into your defensive mode. And it becomes so much part of you, you don't realize it's a defensive mode.
I realized I gotta check myself. I gotta work on that. Because men don't want somebody that's gonna micromanage them, who's gonna always boss them around. So sometimes I just have to be like, okay, baby, even though I'm like this.
Right? And many people go through this as well. So the sassiness and the aggressiveness, when it seeps into your social life, becomes part of you, right? But it also becomes a defense mechanism. It's to stop people getting too close to, as I said, I think it's in that video, stop people getting too close to the heart of the individual person. So your heart now has rib cages around it, okay? You're making sure that you are fully protected because of what you've experienced in the past, you don't want to experience again. So in order to stop that process happening, you build walls up. Yeah, you've heard it's always been said, guard up, right? And you build those emotional guards up because you don't want certain people to enter and hurt the person within. So, for instance, a castle has high walls to stop the enemy getting in. And so we do the exact same thing emotionally. And that's what I'm seeing from Symone. The aggression and the sassiness isn't just her. It's not just about her and her profession. This is something that is coined from what you've experienced. We know that because how she spoke so candidly about her experience with her father. And I think this is really the key point, that there are many women who have fathers and don't have fathers present in their life and will have a guard up. simply because of what they were given at a young age.
I realized that until I deal with my daddy issues, I'm gonna keep dating these jerks. So I asked daddy to go to therapy with me. We started going on daddy-daughter
age. Like, if you weren't protected at a young age, you become protective over yourself because you realize, ain't nobody got my back, right? If nobody's got my back, I've got to make sure I have my back, which means that I'm always ready to go. So a lot of times the attitude, the sassiness, the aggressiveness that comes is because you've not been allowed to be your full feminine self. You've not been allowed to be your full, and I shouldn't say feminine. You've not been allowed to be a child. And when you've not been allowed to be a child, what happens is, as you're growing, you are making sure that you're protecting yourself. You're putting in blocks to make sure you build up your wall as you get older, because you realize as you go through experiences, people are cruel, people are mean, people are evil, right? And unfortunately, for yourself, is that when you realize that you had a poor childhood in terms of being protected emotionally, you do that yourself when you get older. And unfortunately, when we do that, you know, it becomes part of us and becomes part of our nature, and we call it, that's just me. And it's not just me, because when we heard her speak later on, she said quite clearly, oh,
the option to be sensitive sometimes and like be taken care of. I want someone who can tell me to go sit down somewhere when I'm being too extra, put me in my place, but then who also just...
You heard her speak, obviously saying that, you know, she wants a man's going to allow her to be her quirky, comical, funny self, and she wants to be her sensitive self, right? At times, right? And a lot of women are in this. When they're successful women too, they get into these modes. They do want to be able to be sensitive and caring and nurturing, but because they've been bished, bashed, boshed, one in the world, in the working world, and also as well in their youth as well, you build up this natural affinity to guard oneself. Right? The masculine energy that is of a man to be protective over his woman is now the masculine energy you're using to protect yourself. Then you look guarded, and now you look like unapproachable person. Or when we're encountering you, we find that I'm competing with you, and I don't want to compete with you. You understand? You're meant to compliment me, but because you're now accessing your masculine energy due to the fact that you may have not been protected at a point in time, yeah, your heart wasn't guarded, your heart wasn't protected by someone that you trusted, now you are having to do it yourself. And then that's causing conflict between me and you now, because when I'm approaching, you'll give me a certain energy, which is why you then said, why Symone said at the very beginning,
when I date, it's kind of like the way that I practice law. So you have a threshold question, right? Which is like the first thing you have to get past. My threshold question is, do I want to see you naked or not?
And the focus on the nakedness, or should I say the focus on the being attractive, and you can't go any further. If I don't want to strip you naked, basically, yeah, the sexual energy, if I not have that feeling, then we're not going nowhere. It actually presents itself almost like hyper sexuality. And when I say that, I mean in the sense of the hyper focus on the part that you have to have a sexual chemistry on that level, and the way that it's displayed, the way she said it, makes me realize that is conditioned. You understand? Because when you are looking for a quality partner, sexual energy is good, it's a part of it. You want it, don't get twisted, you want a chemistry, but that shouldn't be your main aim. And actually throughout the whole of this show, a lot of women were talking about the outer features. When there's a consistent outer feature focus, it actually speaks about you yourself. You are not trying to go deep within yourself, so you don't want somebody who also is deep, because you are present in shallow waters, so also you are going to go what? Shallow waters, right? So when there's a consistent focus on the outer exterior, and we're going to talk about Alicia in another video, it's actually speaking about you, because you're choosing somebody who you are similar to. So that focus on the outer exterior is like, look at me, get attracted to me, make me feel special, make me feel desired, make me feel wanted, because I never had that when I was younger. So what we've done is we've translated now that when I was young, I wasn't desired, I wasn't protected, I wasn't served. And now when you get older, I'm going to translate that into, when you look at me with a desire sexual, yeah, I know when a man looks at me with sexual desire, I feel wanted, I feel desired, I feel comforted, I feel validated, I feel present, and I also feel like somebody sees and hears me at that conjuncture. But it can't stay there, because if it stays there, the relationship won't last long. If that's the energy we're bringing to confirm the validation, it won't last long.
I would love the option to be sensitive sometimes and like be taken care of.
Because obviously she wants a man that's going to be able to pull out her sensitive nature and her feminine self. She's also got to step out of her own way to allow him to do so. You know, women can oftentimes say, I want a man to lead, and then you're blocking the way for him to do that. And because of your nature, because of what you've gone through, you know, you're unable to give up the reins. She said it herself, I know a man doesn't like to be micromanaged. But then she undermines it.
I realize I gotta check myself. I gotta work on that. Because men don't want somebody that's gonna micromanage them, who's gonna always boss them around. So sometimes I just have to like be like, okay, baby. Even though I'm like this.
I'm saying, but then I'm gonna, if he does lead, I'm gonna be like, basically make it like, basically almost undermining the process. So you're not going to agree with what he's going to say in quiet, but you're actually undermining him, and your energy will show. So you want a man to lead, but you're going to undermine him at the same time. It's not going to work. And the reason why you're going to undermine is because you don't trust him, and you won't trust him because the whole point is that you don't trust somebody to lead because of what you've experienced in the past. This requires some getting over. It requires us to look at ourselves. So that's why she presented the fact that her dad, she had to go and do some candid therapy work, because the man she was in a relationship with for 7 years was exactly similar like her dad. And the fact that, and I know she's very self-aware, the fact that she said, oh, you know, I know men don't like me micromanaged and I need to work on that. The fact that she said obviously she had daddy issues, and you know, she started working it already, tells me this woman is self-aware. Listen, she might come on this show and present to us that, you know, I'm just all about a man just wanting my body and wanting me and da-da-da-da-da. But deep down, I can see that somebody is self-aware enough to know there was work that she had to do. So all that you're giving me right now is a facade. It's a mask. But I'm seeing past that mask because of what you're saying. You know, and so again, you know, I think I also want to just kind of just touch on this part where she spoke about the put me in my place situation, because I think it's good to talk about. Now we're obviously talking about, you remember I told you about the whole put me in my place? It's actually masculine. Oh, let's go there, because I you know, don't watch that. I'm starting fires. All right, let's talk about this. So I've done a video on put me in my place, but I just came to know, as I was just talking now, I heard it. Put me in my place is a masculine energy type. Yeah, and it's like you want the person to fight you. You want the person to physically manhandle you. Masculine energy doesn't manhandle feminine energy. A man doesn't manhandle a woman. When I say manhandle, I'm not just talking about physically. I'm not leaving it just there. But I'm saying in the normal term, a man manhandling a woman isn't masculine. Do you know what I mean? Like it's not a preferred action for a man to put his hands on a woman. No, you understand? Two men to fight over territory, yes, but for a man to fight over a woman over territory doesn't happen. Why? Because a woman's not territorial in the sense of going to protect her family from another male. It doesn't work like that. It works with two males who are trying to find a mate, and the mate has to protect the territory and the woman, right? So it's masculine. So say, put me in my place. When another man puts another man in his place, it's to let you know, hey, fix up, bro. Like, don't try it. This is my territory. So, like, what you're asking for, put me in my place, is actually masculine energy. Do you see what I'm saying? So, you know, we don't want to see anybody put in their place. You should have a level of competence and a level of understanding that, listen, this behavior isn't the right type of behavior. And again, I'm going to say it like I said in the video, which is that here, if you listen to her, what she's actually saying is, okay, I probably didn't learn much about controlling my tongue and controlling my behaviors, and so I need a strong man, okay, to control that behavior in me, to tame that behavior in me. I need a man that I'm going to respect, because actually I lack respect. This is the truth. You lack respect for all men. That's why you're saying I need a strong man. You lack respect. Now, there are men who are soft. I get it. I agree with you. Yeah? But you're talking about put me in my place. It's because you lack respect for all men. Same if a man was saying the same thing, I'll say the exact same thing. He lacks respect for all women. That's why he's asking for X, Y, Z. This particular put me in my place is actually a disrespect, because certain men you don't respect, because they don't carry this facade of the alpha male. And so you're looking at it like, I need a man to make sure he puts me in my place. No, but you should put yourself in place. Do you understand? You're asking for another human being to do something that you should be doing yourself. You should be checking your tongue. You should be checking your behavior and going, right, let me review that. That weren't good. You understand? So yeah, I want to leave it there. I don't want to talk too long about that. I think we spoke quite candidly about Symone. I like her persona, the fact that we got to see something a little bit more deeper than the rest of the characters. So yeah, guys, make sure you leave your comments down below. Let us like, share, subscribe, click on the bell button. Watch out for the Alicia video as well. We appreciate you. Stay locked, stay loaded.